Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Matt, and today I want to talk about three things that really help to make my language learning a lot more efficient. And obviously there's more than three, but I just wanted to kind of tackle three that I thought were very important and very helpful in terms of my overall progress and efficiency with language learning. So the first one was really utilizing listening in my language learning and really optimizing that. So, with listening, it's one of the easiest things that you can do in the entire language learning process, right? It's very easy to do. You can do it while you're multitasking. And it's something that I think you need to put a lot of time in to get really good at, right? Especially if you want to enjoy Netflix shows or compelling audio content. And you really just want to get comfortable with processing language content at a very rapid rate. So, obviously, the first thing is just trying to listen as much as you possibly can. And one thing that I do is I have a lot of my audio content already decided for me, right? So so that allows me to just kind of eliminate decision making. And when I have a spare moment to practice listening, I'll just put something on, and I'll give myself 3 or 4 options to listen to. So generally speaking, I'll have something news related. Maybe it's a news channel or a podcast. I have an audio book that I'm listening to. Maybe it's a history book, a fiction book, something like that. And a couple of YouTube channels that I follow that is some sort of compelling content. So there I have like these kind of 4 choices of content that I can use, right? There's some shorter form stuff, there's some longer form stuff, maybe there's different subject matters thrown in there. And so I have this kind of variety of content that I can choose to. If I don't feel like listening to the news, I can listen to an audio book or a YouTube channel. So it kind of diversifies things up. You get some different narration, right? Different voices that are going on. And so that kind of helps, right? And then, if those kind of options are already there for you, you don't have to think about it, right? Especially if you're getting ready in the morning, you're just kind of pick one of the 3 or 4 items that you have, right? And because you're probably in a rush, it just helps a lot to kind of take that step, take that leap to actually do listening practice. So with that kind of like already established, one big thing is just listening in the morning, right? Listening when you're getting ready for the day, brushing your teeth, putting clothes on, just getting that 15 or 30 minutes of language learning in, starting your day off right? I think it helps because you just kind of feel productive. It's this good victory early on in the day that you're getting language learning in, you're feeling productive, and obviously, you're doing all these other tasks that you have to do anyways. Now, here's the thing though, there's going to be times where you just get distracted. You're a little bit tired, you're a little bit groggy in the morning. That's okay, but you're getting some listening in. The other thing that I tend to do is try to optimize my listening when I'm doing other tasks throughout the day. So if I'm going somewhere, and I have to go to the store or something like that, I will put listening content in, or when I'm working out. And the thing about it is that I know for some people, they don't want to just listen to language learning content all day, right? They like music. They want to listen to other YouTube videos, and that's totally fine. I love music. I sometimes want to listen to music. So, sometimes you just don't feel like putting language learning content in. But I think that it's good to just try to get in the habit of putting it on at least for part of the activity that you're doing, right? So let's say you're going to go work out. And your workout lasts an hour, just commit to saying, okay, for 15 minutes of my workout, no matter what, I'm going to put language learning content in. And after that 15 minutes, I can go listen to music, listen to another podcast or whatever, right? Just kind of try to get 15 minutes in, something like that. And maybe you'll be more motivated. You can get 30 minutes in or an hour in or whatever. But just all these kind of multitasking items, try to just commit to 15 minutes. I think 15 minutes is a good period of time. It's a good section for being just kind of motivated and paying attention and not losing focus. And it's long enough where you're going to get some value out of it, but not too long where it's burdensome. So, you might think 15 minutes isn't really that long, but it can really add up, right? If you add 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes when you're working out, 15 minutes while you're cooking, and maybe 15 minutes while you're cleaning, that's an hour of language learning just from listening alone. And then if you do that every single day for an entire year, that's hundreds of hours. So I think that optimized listening was just something that was very big for me, and it still is. So definitely, if you're not listening already, do it. But just try to get your content figured out beforehand, and try to fit it in as much as you possibly can with multitasking items, even if it's just for these kind of 15-minute increments. The second item that I think is a big efficiency improvement for me is really trying to take advantage of all the time in my day, even if it's just these 2-minute segments, these like very short time segments, because I think there's this tendency, especially in the modern day, to just check your phone, check social media, just do something that's not very productive, especially if you like only have 2 minutes, right? You're waiting in line at the store. You can't do something for 30 seconds. It's very easy just to kind of do a low value activity. And if you can, I think it's worthwhile to try to train yourself to think about just utilizing that time a little bit more effectively. And one thing I like to do in these 2-minute segments is to just read a grammar explanation, read a grammar table, and have that on your phone in the notes section, maybe a picture or something like that, where you can just review it in a 30-second window, a 2-minute window. And there you're getting some grammar review and really utilizing that 2 minutes of time, 30 seconds of time versus just kind of it going to waste, right? And I think it's a great way to get grammar in because you're not kind of committing to this 3-hour grammar session or anything, but it's good to just kind of get some memorization in or something like that. I've also done other things other than grammar with this. It's review some words that I didn't know very well. I've even kind of tried to read in these 2-minute increments. So you don't have to just do grammar review, but just kind of some sort of small activity that you can do. Maybe it's just some light vocabulary review, just read a vocabulary list really quickly, or some words that you're struggling with, review a grammar explanation, or just read a paragraph in a book. I think on your phone, I think that's helpful to try to optimize the time in your day, even those just kind of little 2-minute increments here and there. The last optimization technique that I wanted to talk about was really just kind of utilizing shadow speaking and trying to kind of prepare ahead of time in my conversations with a conversation partner in terms of getting the most out of my time. So, with speaking, especially when I first started off using conversation partners, it's very easy to just keep repeating like the same conversation again and again, especially when your vocabulary is a little bit on the lighter side, right? Where you kind of have these conversations that are like, this is how my day was. This is, a random fact about me, right? It can be very kind of demotivating sometimes, where you're just talking about the same subject. You're staying in the present moment, present tense. You're just kind of very sticking to something that you're very comfortable with. So with shadow speaking, I think this is kind of a good starting place where you can just decide that you're going to talk to yourself for 15 or 30 minutes about a certain subject, especially like a subject that you're not very comfortable with. So let's just say I'm going to talk about how would I go about learning gardening, right? I don't garden at all, but I'm forced to try to look at some of these words that I have in my memory and move them from passive to active, right? Maybe use some vocabulary I'm not used to expressing and really try to convey my point across, especially on a subject that I'm not very comfortable with. I think that that's very helpful. You can also do this with just practicing different grammar tenses and things like that, where maybe you're always expressing yourself in the present tense, and you can say, okay, I'm only going to talk about the future. I'm only going to talk about a future vacation that I want to have in the future. So you're kind of really focused in on this particular grammar aspect or something like that. And that kind of allows you to really utilize, speaking a lot more efficiently, right? You're focusing in on things that you're weak at or things that will kind of broaden your range of your speaking ability. And I think it's important sometimes to go into a conversation and just think about, what do you want to get out of it, right? Maybe make a list of, here are 3 or 5 subject matters that I want to talk about to my conversation partner. I kind of prepare ahead of time, or I'm really going to focus in on expressing myself in the past or with word order or something like that, kind of having that preparation time ahead of time, but then really focusing on things that you're kind of weak at or you want to work on can help you to kind of make more progress, to get more out of your time with your conversation partner. So that's kind of 3 things that I've used in my language learning that have been kind of big efficiency improvements. Let me know what you think. What are some efficiency improvements that you've incorporated? And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.